Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give a small intro this time. You're used to my intros, Sarah. So, Sarah is a guest. I think you're the second guest that's a current client.
Wow,
I know. Matthew was
honoured.
the first. So, let's start with what are you currently excited about?
What am I currently excited about? Uh, in general, are we talking general life in
All of it.
work or
All of
whatever
it.
it is? My most exciting thing is I'm getting a puppy on Sunday, so that's my most exciting thing.
Did you know that I like dogs?
I did know that.
You did notice that.
Yes, but he's not as big as dog as you would like. But he's a Springer Spaniel, so I'd arguably the most intelligent dog. So
There's a conversation. I have an opinion. I'm interested in yours. Is it socially acceptable to show people pictures of your dog?
oh yeah, I've been boring people for the last 2 weeks.
Just people you don't know, or just
Oh no, I know them. I do know them.
so? Is it socially acceptable to show people you don't know pictures of your dog?
I'd say yes as well.
Apparently, some family members believe it's not. And then when I tried to say, but what happens if they have the same dog? Then the opinion was that's okay. And I was like, what happens if it's similar? Or just what happens if it's any dog at all that you speak to in the street? You're allowed to. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, definitely. There is a rule though, isn't there, between dog owners? Unwritten rule that you just speak. You know the dog's name. You don't normally know the owner's name, but you just speak because you've got dogs.
This is all new to me. So
Oh,
excited about the dog,
yep.
and
And also about work, I've started my 6 month coaching with some of my clients, which is really exciting. So
so
I'm excited
tell us
about
about
that.
that.
So I've got two clients now that are going through my 6 month coaching course I've been doing. So they both went through a 3 month coaching course and then decided they enjoyed it so much. I don't know if they were their exact words they used, but they got so much out of it, they wanted to carry on for a further 6 months. So we're just on month one with both of them at the moment. That's really exciting. So I'm
And
enjoying that.
tell us a bit about what got you into the coaching. Where just generally like what was work, a proper job at one point, and then
Proper job. So if I rewind, I can't say too many years because then people will know how old I am, although it's not hard to figure it out. If I go back to when I was just before I turned 40, I'd for a long time been bored in my job and I was looking for other jobs. I really enjoyed my job, but I'd
what
just
was
been
it?
doing it for too long. So I was a buyer at Green King. I literally bought everything, drink, food. I think I ticked every box with pest control, cutlery, toilet rolls, cleaning. You name it, at some point, I probably negotiated a deal or a contract in it. So,
I mean, it sounds
yes.
not terrible. So
No, it was good. So it was a really good job with lots of benefits. So then trying to find a job that was different was really hard because every other purchasing type job was really quite boring. So, yes, I came close to working in the National Trust for a while. That was close, but they only really like taking people on the work to charity. So at that stage, I was like, right, I really need to do something because I couldn't imagine spending the next 20 stroke 30 years working in an office doing something similar. So I had to think about my next move. And I always loved being outdoors. I always loved working with people, and I always liked doing some kind of fitness kind of activity. So I went, yeah, I know, I'll become a gym instructor, personal trainer.
just
So I
like
did.
that, and I'm always interested in this. What were people's reactions around you?
I think they thought I was crazy because I did study for it while I was still working. So I did all the online courses, went away for weekends doing different workshops, had days off work to go to different workshops. So I think they all thought I was a little bit mad and one of those, yeah, whatever, you'll come to your senses. But then after a while, I think they realised that I was quite serious about it, especially when I handed my notice in.
And did people at work know that you were doing this training?
A few of them had done, but I think they thought it was just more of a hobby type thing rather than a you are actually going to go and do this. So yes, I did start my Saturday job. I was saying to someone the other day, I started a Saturday job in the gym so I could get experience for my gym instructor qualification. So I'd work
So you
Monday to
really
Friday.
started at the right at the beginning.
I really started. Yep. So I started there and then I handed my notice in at Green King. So I had a 3 months termination clause. So I worked my notice. I did take on a little bit of part-time work working with a friend who did recruitment. I hate recruitment. Just sorry to all recruitment people out there, but no, that really wasn't for me. So I did a bit of that because she had her own business, so I could do that just to kind of supplement income. And then yeah, I started advertising, putting posters up, doing boot camps. Yeah, I'm working in the gym.
What did you like about it originally?
I think it was the working with people because you meet so many different people. Because when you're training people, either in a class, a boot camp, or personal training, no one person is similar. Like you work in a corporate environment, although people are different, there is the same structure around people and things. But when you start training people outside of that, everyone is very different. And I think I still enjoy the different people that you meet now.
All right, go on, keep talking. Tell me about that.
So, um, well, I think that was where it was before the times of really Facebook and things. So it was a case of putting literally posters up on a lamppost, which the council told me off about. So luckily, I only got a slap on the wrist for that. And different bits and pieces, kind of just building that up. And it was fun, but probably one of the most stressful things I've ever done as well. Because I literally went from getting what was a very good salary with a company car and pension and holidays and all the other benefits to not knowing when I was earning next
And
pound.
family, what did I guess close family? What were they? Because I did it, and I was just I don't know if we had this conversation the other day or you were listening. I had no real responsibilities. Like it was just what did I need to? And to be honest, I had a shit job. Like I went to I had a good job, a good opportunity for a good job anyway. And as a trader, you're like a short end futures trader. So like it's much more common now, but back then you had to do it in a trading floor. Like it wasn't like I don't know if you've seen the pit, when people are shouting
Yeah,
over in the pit.
bits of
It
paper
wasn't like
everywhere.
open outcry, but you had to be in a location, partly to have the power in the computers, etc. So we'd have like 300 people on a trading floor, but everyone sort of quasi worked for themselves. Like you traded your own money, your own principal. And so it was a big opportunity, but it was very hardcore. Most people were gone pretty quickly. I lasted about 2 years, which is actually quite a lot longer than some people. Like, and what you also noticed around you is that there was people that had been there for like 8, 9 years, and they were just making enough money, just
Wow.
making enough that like they it was gonna happen at one point. Like the win was gonna happen, and those people just like it was this. I wouldn't even say it was comfortable complacency. It was just they weren't like some of them were made a lot of money, and I mean a lot. And I just wasn't that good. And after 2 years, I was like, I kind of got asked to leave slightly because they don't like it when you lose money, even though it's sort of your own money. But your boss gives you a pot of money and then's like trade that, and you have to give them a certain amount as you make money in the market. And eventually, we got to a point, and they were just like, "Yeah, this isn't working." And I think I probably could have got a job somewhere else. But it's a bit like the deal with gyms. So it is a job, but it's sort of not as well at the same time. Like you pay rent on your desk, etc. And then I was just really lost. I didn't know what to do, and I was just doing stupid things. And so when I took the step, there was not a big risk because actually it was seemed like mostly upside, and I had no response. I had to live in London, so I had to pay rent to my friend, but it wasn't a big deal. Like I'm assuming it was a bit more of a.
Yeah, I had a mortgage. Luckily, I had a husband, so he had an income as well.
What
But
was Husbo's inputs at these point?
I think we'd been together quite a long time at this stage, so he did know me, and he was just like, oh, "Okay, well, you're going to do it, so you're going to do it." And I was like, "Yeah, be fine, absolutely fine." So yeah, I that's what it was. We did not go on holiday probably for the first year and a half, maybe not really.
What didn't you like about it at the beginning then? At the beginning of the career?
The worst thing was, I think, the unreliability of it. So it is stressful when you don't know how much you're earning. I mean, at one point, I think I got stressed when two people cancelled my boot camp one day and they used to pay £5 a time, and I was stressing. You had to get control of yourself and go, it's £10. But when you don't know how much money you're going to get, then it was very stressful. So that was tough. But then I liked being my own boss. I liked kind of being in more control of how my life was. The one struggle I did have was actually have losing the sense of community, because when you work in an office environment, you
Mm.
don't realize how much of a community you actually live in. And it was simple things like if you'd watched TV the night before, or if you'd seen something somewhere, you didn't have someone to turn around to and go, "Oh, did you see that?" So I didn't have that, and I missed that. And it's when the more you started working with people, so the busier I got, you started getting that back because you could then chat with people more. So it was tough at the beginning not having so many people to work with.
And it's
Kind of
just like
lonely a little bit, really.
for sure, like pounding the streets, like the old school way of getting business. Did you have a? Were you in a gym? Were there gym members you could sell to, or
So there was gym members, but they had it. It's still the place I'm at now, and it's a lovely small club.
because you
But at
don't
the
live in London, right? So it's not like
no,
me when I'm in London and there's like 3,000 members.
oh no, I think there was probably just over 1,000 members. They also had two PTs working there at the time, so they didn't want any more PTs working in there. So I worked in the gym and I started doing classes, and then I started doing a boot camp to which I could then get people from the gym out into my boot camp because I was outside, so they wanted to do something different. So I got people in that way. And then I started being able to take on some PT clients. And I don't know if it's weirdly or not, I've had a website for years, and I did have people start to find me on my website because I'd offered to go to their house and train them. So there was people that didn't want to go to the gym or didn't have gym membership and didn't want to go anywhere. So I'd literally drive to their house to train them in or outside their house.
I mean, this. If I say this is like proper old school, I'd probably people listening that are like, that's what they do now. I guess I'm so detached from the thought of traveling to people to do a personal training session, and then do you remember Ben? Was Ben around when you started?
I don't think so.
Really not. Like
Yeah.
he would travel to clients,
Hmm.
and I was just like, okay. I spoke to someone the other day, and I was like, well, like, what happens with that half an hour there and half an hour back? So I think some people charge a bit more, but it just didn't. It didn't make sense to me.
No, that was the other thing. I didn't charge anymore. Well, I think one guy I did charge because he was a little bit further out. I did charge a bit more. But you're like, well, I can't charge too much because, like, that's just wrong.
You do know that. This is interesting. How did we meet?
How did we meet? You found me on LinkedIn, to which I wasn't using. I obviously used it when I was at Green King a lot. Then I stopped using it. I updated my details, but hardly ever went into it. And I don't know I can't actually remember what started me using it again, but I started logging on to it and doing a little bit, and then you popped up in my inbox.
Okay, and then what was your experience there? I'm always interested.
Um, well, I am quite conscientious most of the time, and I will read most messages that come, unless they're the real generic, shop selling you stuff. I will read messages. And I think you sent a couple, and I'd seen some of your posts on LinkedIn as well. And I was just like, oh, he's selling something or other. So to start off with. But then I think I did actually respond, and we had a conversation. Oh, no, you sent me a video. You sent me a video message. So I was like, okay, you've taken the time to do that. So we had a conversation.
All right.
Mm.
And what do you think about the current state of the fitness industry? What do you think are the good things? What do you think are the maybe the things that are negatively affecting it?
The good things I'd say is I think around, which is probably about a lot of the sport that's now being shown, that it's showing that exercise is good for everyone, whether you're young, old. So I think that's starting to be more promoted that, anyone can go to the gym. there's probably places around that aren't like this, but I think a lot of places aren't necessarily male dominant all the time in the weights room. You're seeing a lot more women and young girls in there actually lifting weights
And
and
you've
not feeling
noticed that as well.
intimidated. Yeah. So that's not, there's still some probably, I don't know if it's older women maybe that wouldn't, but most, like, it's probably a 50-50 split where I am, like male to female in the weights room.
Which
So
when would you have first gone in a weights room?
I think the first time I went in a proper weights room was when I was doing my training. Because it was really intimidating.
I mean, I had this conversation with someone just on the last episode, and I also remember that I think it's also how gyms used to be built as well. So when I first started working, I was at Fitness First in Shepherd's Bush. There's the big cardio area, and then to get to the weights room, there was like a walkway that was raised here, like with a sort of barrier to that you could walk down, and it was quite a big long walk. That wasn't the problem, but you walked in, and then it was through just a door without a door, and you walked in, and it was just one big square weight room, and it was like I just don't think many women would walk all the way up there to then just almost like when you see in the movies when someone walks into a pub and everyone stops and stares, and it was literally like that. And I only really realised this like after speaking to clients, and they're like, oh, I don't go in the weights room. And I've seen recently, I don't know if this is conscious with some of the, like, surprisingly enough, the budget gyms seem to actually build their gyms, or maybe they've been forced to, comparatively to when I first started. The gyms weren't that specced out, they weren't that great, they weren't that thought through. And now there's so many different areas, and I don't know, I'm sure you still have gyms like that, but for me that was like you hardly ever saw any women in that space because it just seemed so not just intimidating, but the way that the gym was designed. And I think that I'd have female clients, and then I'd be like, right, here's what you're going to do: get a weight, and then just go and get a box, and just go and train in the corner somewhere, maybe not in the big intimidating weight room. But I agree with you. Like I said on the last podcast, when I was in Portugal, the amount of like younger girls, and actual girls, I think probably 16, 17, I don't know if it's above 16 there, that are in the gyms, like lifting heavy shit, training properly.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. And I think probably not that I wish to advertise it because I don't need advertising, but things like High Rocks and that I think have made it more, it's almost trendy now as well. So you
For
kind of need,
everyone, like even all ages.
well, I had a couple of people in my kettlebell class a few weeks ago that were going off. I think they were both in their late 60s. They were going off to do their first High Rocks. So
That's unreal.
yeah, so I think things like that have made exercising being a trendy thing. And the other thing I noticed, was it last year? I went to, I don't very often use facilities at the club where I work, and I should really more. And I went for a sauna on a Friday night, and there's all young people in there. I was like, I used to be in the pub, I used to go clubbing. They're all in the gym and having a sauna. And it's kind of, it was like a wow, and life has really changed a lot, I
I
think, around
this
that.
this is the conversation I was having before as well.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
person I was speaking to highlighted her going out at the weekend quite a
Mm.
lot,
Yeah.
and maybe not getting much sleep and these kind of things.
Mm.
Um, why do you think that is?
I think well, it's probably some of it is aesthetics, maybe, I think, and wanting to look better. But I think there's definitely more of a vibe around being fit and healthy and exercising to do it rather than pumping yourself full of something artificial to do it, I think.
Yeah,
There's, the sport, I think, in terms of like all the different sports for both sexes, is being shown so much that I think people not necessarily want to aspire to be sports people, but actually they look good. So therefore, if I work out, I'll look good.
and you
And
like lots of sports, I've noticed. Tell us about that.
I do like sport. So I did a switch though. So I used to have a season ticket to Ipswich Town.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yes. So years ago, we used to go and watch Ipswich Town, sometimes
And
to
when
away
was years
games.
ago?
This was back in the 90s, up until, yeah, in the 90s, probably a bit into the early 2000s. I
So
was very young when I went.
do you remember when it was Cambridge United and Ipswich at the top of
Oh,
the first division,
oh,
the old second division, sorry,
oh, yes.
and it was the year before the first season of the Premiership, and it was Cambridge, it was Leicester, it was Ipswich, and Cambridge were top of the table for much of the season. And I think we beat Ipswich, and we ended up in the playoffs, and we lost 5-1 to Leicester. And I don't know if Ipswich went up that year.
I can't remember if they went up that year or year after. If I asked my husband, he would know because he remembers all those dates. Because we went to playoffs at Wembley, so I remember going to the playoffs
Okay, because we
when they
didn't, because
did go up.
we lost 5-1 to
Yeah,
Leicester away in the
yeah,
first leg, and we should have gone up automatically, and we would have been in the first season of the Premiership. I remember
yeah.
no, we didn't beat, we lost 3-0 to Newcastle, and Kevin Keegan had just got the job, and they were right down below near the bottom, and they absolutely played us off the park. But
Mm.
that was like, I think that one of the losses we had that year, and we got to the quarterfinals of the, see, look, this is the glory days of the FA Cup 2 years in a row. We lost to Palace one year, we lost to Arsenal the other year, and we were good. Do you remember John Beck?
Yes, I do remember that name.
The worst football you've ever seen in your life. We made Wimbledon look cultured. It was
Mm.
so bad, but when you're 11, you don't care.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Mm.
So tell me about the coaching then. Like, not from a perspective of like my program and all that. Just from like when you started doing this, what did you realize that you didn't realize before? Like, because obviously you started working. Try not to say about, but you joined us, right? And
Yep.
was it something that you were expecting? Was it different? Was it what's been refreshing about just learning a new way of working with clients?
Um, what's been good is I enjoyed PTing people, and anyone I think that is a PT would kind of say the same thing, that you end up learning far more about people than you ever thought you would. You are like the hairdresser that like learns everything about people and their lives because they tell you things they don't tell other people. So you do learn that early on. So you kind of almost fall into coaching a bit because you end up having conversations about stuff that's not just reps and, how many squats can you do and what weight can you hold.
Would you have
So you
called it coaching at that point, or
no,
not?
no,
You just call it like chatting,
just yeah, chatting. It
listening.
was just yeah, chatting. And then you kind of suggest things that might help out in areas where they're struggling with something else. So there's always the nutrition side, but then you kind of go into other areas too with a bit of their sleep and all kinds of other things. And so yeah, I realized, well, I kind of I didn't know that it was more like coaching you ended up doing with people to kind of get them through things and over things. And then it's when I started doing working on the coaching course with you, you kind of realized I was already doing a lot of what I was learning, but I just didn't have any structure around it and didn't realize I was doing it. So then suddenly I had a structure of things and a way of working through things I didn't have before.
What do you think's been the benefits to your clients?
Uh, the
Actually, tell
benefit
us who you work with as well.
he'll work with.
Mm.
So I tend to work with perimenopausal and menopausal women is my focus, um, generally because I know what they're going through. So they're the women I work with, and I think what's been good about it is, well, apart from the fact I can kind of sympathize more, it means people they're opening up to things and seeing results that are not like exercise and food related is the wrong word. It's not all driven by what they're eating and what they're exercising. There's a lot of other things that come into it. And whereas I can stand in front of someone for, 45 minutes to an hour and tell them to do a load of exercise, that doesn't mean they're going to do it the next 2 or 3 times that week unless I'm standing there getting them to do it. Whereas with when you start coaching people, you can kind of start getting them to change their behavior more so they actually want to start doing those things, and you don't need to stand there and tell them what to do.
Do you think they've been surprised, the people that have done it with you?
Yes. One of the ladies who she did the 3 months with me, she used to hate going to the gym, and she'd only go with her husband because he'd tell her which machines to use. And she didn't really know why she was using them or what she was doing, and she wouldn't go if he didn't go. And now she loves going to the gym, and she knows what machine she's using. She knows what weights to do. She knows how to increase it. And she's kind of learned how to do all of that and feels confident going in the gym. And I didn't actually even go in the gym with her. I think I do see her at the club, and I think at one point we met up because there was a couple of stomach exercises I suggested she do. So I met up with her so I could show her what they were. But I didn't even go in the gym with her, and now she just loves going to the gym. And even she said she couldn't believe how different she felt about it.
And do you think she was surprised that she could get to that place without being signing with a trainer?
Yes. Because when I first started talking to her, that's what she said. Oh, I think I need a personal trainer to kind of train me in the gym so I know what I'm doing.
Tell me some
So
other
then we
stories about clients.
other stories about clients. I've got another lady who probably does, it was the opposite, in which she overdoes everything. Like she will go and do 5 classes in a day and do that for a week and then crash and burn the week after because she's crash and burn.
And so, how have you been helping people with this? I'm always
So
curious.
it's well, talking to them about what they, it's the reason why. I think that's the thing, is getting them to think about why they're doing something. And generally, this is what the coaching is great for, because it's not, something like that isn't just about getting fit or losing weight or getting stronger. There's other reasons why people are doing something. And a lot of the time, it's either escapism or it's the one place that they feel in control of their life because everything else is out of control. So if they go to the gym, that's where they're in control of things. And I think
It's
that's what
interesting.
happened.
Do you find like people are open to this kind of conversation, or like does it take a bit of time? What's your kind of experience?
I've had both experiences. So I've had people that have really embraced the conversations that we've had and gone with it. And I've had others that have almost been not quite kicking and screaming, but like literally, like, why am I doing this? This is ridiculous. What is the point? But then you kind of persevere with them, and all of a sudden, all the pieces fall into place, and they're like, oh, okay, I get it.
And you seem
And
to
then
have.
go.
Go on. No, I'm listening.
Oh, and I kind of, and I've had a couple of ladies as well who are slightly older that literally have seen, I mean, then I've got them doing exercises at home, or I did have. And they were so surprised that after, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks of doing these exercises, how much stronger and fitter and mobile they felt, and genuinely surprised about it. So,
They got stronger and fit because they did exercise, or like
yeah, yeah.
would
So
have
I've
thought.
had a mixture. It was a genius moment, but yeah.
What do you think is the sort of immediate future then for the fitness industry from your perspective? Because even speaking to you now, I realize like that. Phil used to say this to me a lot. It's like you need to get your head out of your experience, because my experience was just central London, and it's like, my experience was probably different to a lot of people's, even in central London. Like just with things that I threw a lot of spaghetti at the wall, a lot. So I managed to sort of persuade and blag my way into all sorts of opportunities. By the way, there was a lot that I tried and it didn't work. But even if I take away like some of the clients I had towards the end, when I was just like first of all doing it, it was such a different. Well, I didn't know, and then Phil was like, "You need to get your head out of this, because if you were from Scunthorpe, what you think is simple is not simple, because most people in Scunthorpe charge like £30 an hour for personal training, and like that to me was it wasn't like I was sitting there going, well, that doesn't make sense. I knew logically, but sometimes just with how I'd think about things. And I think when I chat to other people that have, their experience is very different in the fitness industry. Like if you if you worked in my gym, not you, but just generally, I would always say that it was hard not to make it work. Now that doesn't mean that there was not people that started and literally disappeared within a week. Like I distinctly remember people coming and then they would stand there and there was one lady and she had a clipboard and she was there, she was on day one with a clipboard and a bum bag. And I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I was like, I hope she does really well. And she just couldn't do it. She left within a week. And like for me, it was like, I don't know how people couldn't make that work. Like there was lots of clients around. There was a reasonable amount of cash. Like I worked in the city. Yeah, it was a bit frustrating. It wasn't like at first that clients just came to you really easy, but to build a business in that, like, just seemed like, and actually make some decent money. If I was charging £50 an hour, £55 an hour at first, the gym charged me, I can't remember what my rent was, but it was paid by the end of lunchtime Monday morning. Because I'd have done like 4 sessions, 5 sessions, maybe 4 sessions, and I think that was paid my rent for that week.
Mm.
And then it was just all profit, and it was like I sometimes struggled. Like it seemed quite easy to make things work, but I do think in the rest of the country is very different.
Yeah, I think it probably it is just disposable income as well, isn't it? And what people have got. But I think it's like with any business. I think you've got to know what to attract people with. And I think just kind of standing barking orders at people, they're not going to pay for that or they won't pay for it for long. But actually understanding clients what they need, working on what is best for them rather than what is your latest exercise or craze. And actually fundamentally talking to people, I think is, if you can do all of that, like talk to people, understand what they need and find a way of making it enjoyable for them, you shouldn't really fail.
I mean, I'm running an offer. I don't know if you've seen it at the moment, and that's kind of my sort of frame with this. That like I didn't like walking the floor in the gym at Fitness First. I didn't enjoy doing it. Like it wasn't something that I would choose to do. But like the reality is, you had to do it. Like you had to just talk to people. Like, and sometimes it was conscious that you would be there to talk to people. You'd be like, well, I'm thinking about getting more clients. I'm going to speak to people a bit more. And other times it was just like you were just training or you were just there and you just chat to people as they came along. But you could tell sometimes there was resistance from people talking to personal trainers because they were like, I mean, you said you had two. I think when I first started in there, we had 8. And then that exploded to about 15.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I went to Gymbox, there was over 20, easily over
Mm.
20, and maybe nearer 30. So that was central London, but I still couldn't get my head around people not being able to make that. But again, maybe it's different now. By the way, if anyone's listening, maybe like 15 years later, it's different. There's more trainers. There's less. There must be less. I'm assuming there's less people in the gyms in central London now than there was at one point.
I don't, well, oh yeah, I don't know about central London. I know where I am. Certainly the club I work out, I don't think I've ever seen so many people there. It's like there's people all the time and so there's 3 of us kind of old school trainers working out of there, and they've got 5 kind of younger who are employed. They're all employed by the club as trainers, and then I don't know the deal of how they earn, but they've got 5 of them in there and they're all pretty busy.
Maybe it's because all
So,
the people that live round where you are don't commute to London anymore.
well, it could be. Although we have had the DL club open in Bury as well. So,
Okay, and how did your gym think about that?
they weren't overly worried, and seemingly they were right because they haven't suffered much at the hands of it. So,
There's gyms in London that some of them there's £300 a month now.
mm. Yeah, I think old DL is up here. I think they've just put the price up. People are moaning it's gone up to £180 a month in Bury.
And Bury's, I mean, it's a nice area. What? So tell me
Yeah.
about what you think about like the industry. What's What's the good things in the future? What's the things that you
The
think are going to affect it? What's your bugbear?
the good things I think is that there is good people out there and there's some good things going on. I think there's a lot of community that can be built around gyms and the fitness industry as well in terms of classes. We've seen that around here with various groups. There's a couple of running groups and things, and the club I work out of, they've got a couple of groups. So there's a lot of I think there's a lot of benefit in that, especially if you live alone or you want to go out and meet people. I think it's a great place for people to do. So I think that's great for the industry. I think all the high roxy type competitions I think are great for keeping people fit and active and something to do. I mean, you could call them gimmicky or not, but
I mean,
they're
it just
doing
came
really
from
well.
nowhere, right? Or not? Well, I mean, you tell me.
Yeah, I know. All of a sudden, someone's going on about high rocks. It's like, what are you talking about? And then all of a sudden, it's everywhere. And people are on the phone. It's like getting concert tickets. They're on the, or not on the phone, or on their phone or their laptop trying to check in and get tickets as if it was, Michael Jackson was coming back
I
to
mean,
play live or
they're
something.
smart people, right? They're
Mm.
like my perspective. By the way, I don't know enough about it, but I remember obviously CrossFit, and there was lots of difference of opinions about CrossFit, and partly if you mix the style of training they did, and I don't know if the nutrition advice was official or just happened to be what those kind of people decided to eat, like kind of paleo, low carb, all of that stuff. I don't know if it was official. Not always the best mix, but also they tended to do things that for a lot of people would just injure them.
Yeah.
I think what High Rocks was really clever about is that they took some of the really good things about from CrossFit, but then lost a lot of the danger. A lot of the risk reward thing seems to be so different that
Mm.
it's a choice of exercises that anyone can do ish, and you're not going to injure yourself by doing very complex exercises like at pace, at volume. I think it's really clever, like from a
Yeah.
business perspective.
Yeah, I do. I think, yeah, I don't know who came up with it, but it was between
And is it
the
English?
volume. I feel like it is, but I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
do
actually.
too.
Mm. Yeah. And you get all the merch around it too. Have you seen all the merch?
I mean, I thought everyone just doesn't wear any tops. I thought that was the gig, and
No,
does good photography.
no, you don't wear any tops at the gig, but then you have to get the t-shirt and the hoodie and the rucksack
I did
and
not know
the
this.
like.
There's one near me.
Oh,
Actually, I see them
yeah,
outside. So
yeah. So all the young guys at the club have all done it, and they've all got the rucksack and the badges, and
I mean, it's smart.
yeah, yeah. It's very clever. So I think that's good. I think that's a good thing in the industry. I think the app world, my bugbear is the apps you can get and those 30 days to lose your stomach when you do wall Pilates. Just I because I can teach Pilates. I know Pilates, and I see ads coming up for wall Pilates where someone's flinging their legs up against the wall and you can lose your flab in 6 or 30 days by doing this. Those things are my bugbear.
Do you think people? I was about to say, do you think people still fall for that? But of course they do. Otherwise, these wouldn't have business models.
Mm.
What do you think we
I
can
think
learn?
they what learn from the apps or
Learn
those.
from these people. Yeah, I always looked at that as well.
Um, I, I suppose it is putting it out in front of people, but then it's not quality content. And I don't know what the cost is to download them, but I'm assuming it's probably like the £2 or £3 a month that is people will pay and then not really, notice it. I don't know. But I don't know. It's the accessibility and the ease, seemingly, I think, is the probably the thing that's good.
Um, yeah, I sometimes imagine like what's going to happen with AI as well now. Like the
Mm.
fact that I was talking to someone yesterday and they were selling, I think he said like $75 for a workout program. This was a while back. So not selling a load, and like I'm sort of half talking to him, half having a sales sort of conversation, so he can maybe listen to what I'm saying or not because he thinks I'm trying to sell him something, which I probably am. But And I was like, this is almost already not working, because like AI can update this better than you can, and it can do it
Mm.
in real time. And the thing is, when I would have said this to people like 5 years ago, their pushback would have been, yeah, but in their mind, there would have been, my ability to program design is better than these other things. But actually, now it's coming to a point where it actually might not even be. Like, there's a science and an artistry when you're, I think when you look at actual real good strength coaches, they'll talk about the fact that one of their athletes might come in and they'll just look at them and they'll be like, right, go home, you're not training today. Like, I think that's real. I think that's real, where you just start to have this, like, just inner knowledge that you're, and obviously this is high level stuff, like just average, our clients coming in, you wouldn't just go, right, you're not coming and training today, right, go home. No, because they look a bit tired. It's like, that's probably going to be every single time. But I still think it sort of seeps down. And the idea, like for £10 now, an end user can have an AI look at all of their data and probably predict as well as, if not better, what a coach used to do when they actually looked at all of their data and updated their training programs. And just at scale with what AI can do now, like this is more than a market disruptor, clearly, because you can't compete with that, and you're not going to
No.
compete with it. And so I think that like there's this split, and like the thing that's going to win is personal brand, first of all, as far as marketing, but also just like you as a person and your accountability, and there's obviously we're probably biased, but the deeper coaching of understanding why like an app can't do that. And I think like anything that's low ticket must be dying a death unless it's attached to some community. That's the only way that I think people could compete with the sort of £10 things, is that you do something similar. Maybe you even build your own AI and you attach it to a community.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I think that's true because it's so low cost and nobody could afford to be training someone for £10 an hour. That's just, or in 45 minutes, it's just not doable. So yeah, I think it is, and it'll work for some people as well. I think there are still people out there that like the human contact, that still want the kind of, someone there talking to them as well. I don't think that'll get lost. And there is still elements, like you say. I had someone in one of my classes the other day, and he's had been suffering with his knee. So I was watching him. I was teaching kettlebells, and I was watching him doing some squats, and the trainers he's wearing are atrocious. So they're really too thick and padded. So afterwards, I had a conversation with him about trainers, and I think those are the things that you lose when you start going to AI and that. And I think some people will still see the value in it. So there is, but there will be a lot that will lost because they won't care about things like that.
What's interesting is that been speaking to someone and they're like, there's now AI that will look at form and
Oh,
correct form,
oh wow.
and it can read what the problem is, whether there's the same artistry or whatever it is, but it can decide what you need to do, and it's that good, or it will be that good, that it can actually give you better diagnosis or better feedback than a human. Now again, I'm sure that I used to do a bit of well, not a bit, I really got into sort of the pre-rehab stuff. I wasn't very good at it myself, but they did like a lot of like really like complex gait analysis. Well, it wasn't complex, but I found it quite, I couldn't see it. And they would look at the way people walked and they'd be like, this is the problem, and they'd know all the mobilizations, exercises, strengths, and it literally sometimes before your eyes they would get someone to walk, the person would have pain, they'd then do some sort of mobilizations, assisted stretches, stuff, they'd like, right, walk again and the pain is gone. And I was just like, this is mad. I spent a lot of money trying to learn this stuff. But if AI can do that as well, like if AI, which apparently it can, like even those things where you're looking at someone's form and you're like, okay, it's just, maybe it's his shoes, it's different. But I think it's like this is why I think a lot of coaches are getting so scared, because there's so many. Here's one thing that I do think is actually, I think that personal training is going to in itself start to become even more valuable. As this is Daniel Priestley the other day, And he was saying that he thinks that things like plumbers and electricians are going to start earning more than lawyers at some point, because these are the jobs that you have to have some human contact with now, whereas something like
Hmm.
law, you're going to just be able to basically use AI. And I wonder whether you could use that same sort of idea with trainers, in the sense of you're not going to be able to replace an in-person trainer with AI.
No.
Because just some of my clients used to just say to me, yeah, if I don't have a session, I just won't come in. And however much I got annoyed with them, at the same time being like, well, that's a good thing as well, because they're going to just stay forever.
It's me.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I don't think that in-person stuff's going to be able to be replaced. So I think it's going to be like, there's going to be something that people are doing really cool stuff in person. Obviously, there's always competitive forces. It could be like, you know, doing a class, or
Yeah.
even watching Netflix more, or whatever else it is people can spend the money on. And then online, I think that the lower end of the market is just going to die. And the
Yeah.
thing that's gonna compete is people that actually know what they're doing individually.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've got two clients I've been training for years. I can't even remember how long it is now, and they're the same. They only work out when I stand there telling
It's
them
like,
what to
if
do.
a robot was there to meet them, would they still be like, "Oh, I've got to get to the gym. I'll feel
Yeah.
bad because the robot will be waiting for me."
Yeah, yeah. So that still happens. So yeah, I think in person still has value, and I think people still want it because it's that same thing. You're not going to talk to your AI about, your family that were doing your head in the night before, or your partner that's had a row with, or, those kind of things. Well, I don't know. AI probably would eventually be able to do that, but that's
It's
like,
just not the
yeah,
same. It can't be. It can't be.
no.
What about weight loss drugs? What's your thoughts?
I am no, I'm not sitting on the fence. I think they have their time and their place, and when used well, they are very good.
Have
So
you
I
had
think
any people that are clients, people around the gym that have used them positively?
I've got a client who's using it. He has lost a couple of stone. I mean, he is someone that literally, if I can get him to drink an extra glass of water, and I've been training him for years, we're on to a winner. I mean, that's how like not into worrying about what he eats and drinks he is. But he lost 2 stone, but he's kind of stalled on it because I think if you just rely on it as the weight loss, you can lose the weight. You could probably lose a lot of weight, but you're going to have to stay on it indefinitely because nothing's going to change. And I don't know, as with anything, nobody knows the real long term effects of taking things like that until we've had people taking them long term. So I don't think it's a good solution. I think for people that have got the comorbidities and the contraindications that say that they've got a lot of trouble ahead of them if they don't lose weight, I think it's good for them if it is used alongside behavior change.
Yeah, I I listened to someone talking about it, and they said, and this is just maybe an individual who knows, this might not be across the board, and they talked about. So I after listening to this, I was like, I think I have business noise, and they talked about food noise, and their definition of food noise was they always think about it. Now, I'm sure that person isn't literally always thinking about it. Like, I'm sure there's some times when they're not thinking about food. Like, I would hope there would be times they're not thinking about food. Like, but I could sort of understand what they were saying. I was like, I think that's me about work and business. I'm like always thinking about it, even if I'm just wandering to the gym. I'm like, oh, what I'm gonna do, and then they said that they when they were taking it, that stopped. They didn't think about it all the time, and I was like that, and they were obviously fans of it. It's like I think if like because I would never be in that situation, like I would find that hard to understand and imagine, like always thinking about food. I'm assuming in some ways that's where people get the sort of addictiveness of it. Like you might, if you're a gambler, I'm assuming you think about that a lot, like, and obviously hopefully eventually you get coping mechanisms to not act on it or not think about it as much. And I was like, that must be so life changing if that is your
Mm.
experience, that you're constantly thinking about food, and then all of a sudden this medication that you can take just stops that. And it really
Yeah.
hit home, and I was like, but I guess the problem is what, when they stop taking it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because it's there's always been that said about addictions, isn't it? Like if you drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever it is, if you want to stop that addiction, you can, with treatment and everything else, you can move away from it. Whereas if you've got a food addiction, whatever it is, you still need to eat. So it's not like you can take yourself away from the food. So it does so that's what, yeah, the drugs are great, but it has got to have some kind of something behind it to help. Otherwise, you are on those drugs long term. Because I think it's because it is the appetite suppressant, isn't it? It's that losing that stops you then thinking, I need to eat. And if you don't have that suppressing it, then you're just going to go back to it, aren't you?
Mm. Um, and what are you excited about going forward?
Excited going forward.
You're not allowed to start
Um,
with the holiday. You're not allowed to start with the dog. Elsewhere, other
Damn
things,
it.
business, clients. What are you excited about?
Business clients. I'm excited about developing more into my coaching program. So whilst I've got it and I'm doing it, it's good to keep learning more and adding more bits into it. So as I learn more, I can add more in for people and find things to help them more. So I'm excited about
Give me
that.
some examples.
I,
Like what are these things? What are you introducing that some of your clients are gonna expect to happen in the next few months? What were some of the things we talked about?
well, some of them are kind of, well, this is where I find it quite funny. There's a lot of things that I find are quite like out there and people do. And then it's when you start talking to people, you realize that's because I'm into it and I read about it all the time and then they don't. But I think in terms of being more self-aware is my biggest one because I think that's where people struggle. Like we've grown up in a world that when you don't feel well, you go to the doctor to figure out what's wrong with you. And I think if we start looking at ourselves and learning about ourselves more, we will be able to fix ourselves more.
What
That's
does
what
that
I'm.
mean? Tell me, what does that mean? Go on, tell me more.
What does it mean? So it's about listening to your body. So listening to your body and what it's telling you. So it's that thing. So taking it quite simply and straightforward. If you're feeling exhausted all the time, you kind of go to the doctor and then they'll give you some pills to make you feel better, but that's not solved the problem. So if you start looking at your life, which is where the coaching is really good, and what you're doing, when are those times that you're exhausted, what is causing it, what's doing it, what can you change to make that better? So for instance, I was talking to a lady the other day who is one of my, she's not actually a client, but she'd come to a talk I did and we were having a conversation because she's really fit, really healthy, eats really well, does all the right things. And she is constantly feeling exhausted and suffering with DOMS for 5 or 6 days after exercising. So, I mean, I literally went through my whole catalogue in my brain of, are you doing this? Are you doing that? Stretching, drinking enough, eating enough. What it boiled down to is she's doing too much of the same exercise back to back. And it was that was kind of causing the issue. And it's if you start to listen to your body a little bit more about what it's telling you, I think it tells you more than you think it does.
All right, this is good. So I'm one of your clients or potential clients. Like, what do I actually do? Like, what are we talking? Like, do you do meditation with people?
I have suggested, I don't actually do it with people. I have had suggested it, and I have done a couple of videos just of my voice again, doing some breathing exercises or something just to talk. I've suggested, like first thing in the morning, depending on circumstances, like women that have still got kids around, busy mornings, taking a cup of tea or coffee out into the garden or somewhere quiet, sitting for 5 or 10 minutes just in quiet and not thinking about anything.
It's
So I've
madness, isn't it?
suggested that,
It's madness.
yeah,
That's something that's so novel.
yeah. That's what I mean. It's things that I would just think are normal, but then it's not till you say it to someone and they go, "Oh my God, I tried that. That was amazing." And you're like, "Oh,
And do you meditate?
I do." I've been doing it for quite a long time now. I do struggle with keeping my focus with it. and I'm absolutely rubbish with visualization meditations. Have you done them?
Go on, tell me. Tell me more about what.
I've done it. I remember the worst one. I went somewhere and they start off with this: close your eyes and you're walking down this path, and then there's a fire in the woods and people are sitting around the fire and there's all this, and I can't see these things. So then I start stressing because I can't see these things. So then the whole meditation is lost on me because I'm more stressed about the things that I can't see in the meditation than actually just, yeah. So I'm not good with visualization ones.
Have you tried any of Joe Dispenza's?
No, I haven't.
Obviously, I'm a big
I
fan of
will.
meditation and the
Yeah.
benefits. There was one that I purchased off his website. Actually, it's an hour and 20 minutes long, and
Oh,
takes a bit of practice clearly. And like I think one of the things you have to just it's not you're not trying to not get distracted. Like because I think that's one of the places that people go wrong is they try not to get distracted and they sometimes get annoyed that they are and then that stops them doing it and it's just an acceptance that you get distracted like as soon as you're thinking about being distracted you're now not in the place of like an empty mind. And I did his one for an hour and 20 minutes like consistently and there were some moments there where like I could see why people do long meditation. Like I could see it wasn't. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it definitely felt like it was doing something in that moment, and I really like his stuff. So he does like even like
okay.
10-minute ones on YouTube, 12-minute ones. But there's one that
Okay.
he does which is an hour and a half, no, an hour and 20 minutes. Um, Obviously finding the time. I'm assuming lots of your clients would not have the hour and the 20 minutes, but
Mm.
isn't there a saying about the people that don't have, the
Don't
people that
have the time are the ones that
20
need the
minutes to
time.
do meditation actually need an hour?
Yep.
And
I
is
think, yeah. Hold on.
no, I'm listening.
Well, I think it's that thing that people, it just seems a bit woo-woo to some people. It's like, what is the point in doing that? It's when they think you're going to become a Buddhist monk or something or other if you sit and meditate too long. And I don't, and also I think with meditation, it's when you can do it. So I can bring the dog into this conversation. So I've had Springer Spaniels, so and they love going in the forest. So I loved going in the forest, and I find walking in the forest is very therapeutic. Just walking along, looking at the trees, whatever. I haven't done it for a year because I haven't had a dog to walk. So
So
I
we're
think
we're
that's
so
where,
excited about that.
yep. So
Yeah.
although he's got to get a little bit bigger before I can let him run around in the forest too much. But yeah, I think things like that is quite good. And I think that's like a form of meditation if you don't want to just do the, sitting and cross-legged and umming kind of thing, which people think it is.
Do you find clients are more or less receptive to breath work?
I think they're more receptive. And literally, anyone who's been in my classes for as long as I can remember always laugh at me because when I'm getting to do any kind of exercise, I probably say, and don't forget to breathe. Because it's like when they're exercising, you can see everyone holds their breath. And then, so I start talking about it, and then they do become quite interested in it because it's like, well, I am breathing, and it's like, you're really not breathing. And then you start talking to them about it, and like, oh, yes.
Have you done any like the Wim Hof or anything like that? Have you done any like?
Yes, I've done the Wim Hof. Uh, I went on an ice bath Wim Hof afternoon thing.
And how was that?
It's really good actually. It's quite surprising how you feel. And I've got the app, and every now and again, when I kind of get back into it, I do the breathing app, and it does make you feel quite, I don't know if strange is what, different. And I do think it's a good stress release.
All right, Sarah,
Mm.
thank you so much for being on. What we will do always with these is we will obviously put some details. What are where are the best places to find out about what you do? What's your favourite social channels?
My favorite social channels. I'm normally posting something on Facebook and Instagram and a bit of LinkedIn too. More Facebook and Instagram.
Someone earlier said
Oh,
TikTok, and I was surprised about that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. I thought that was a COVID fad. Then someone told me there was great things for holidays, so I started an account, and yeah, I just no.
And how could they find out about your podcast in the future? Where would that be hosted?
My podcast,
In the future? That would be on YouTube, so you must have a YouTube channel or not?
I have got a YouTube channel. I haven't posted anything on my YouTube channel, so I do need to start posting things on my YouTube channel. So when I
So,
have my own podcast, that'll be on YouTube.
so we'll have to come back and add the YouTube. So Facebook, Instagram, and
Facebook,
LinkedIn.
Instagram, and LinkedIn. Yes, I'm
And
about on
you have a
there.
website.
I have got a website. So I called my business Balanced Life. So it's balanced-life.co.uk is my website.
We'll get some
'Cause-
details. Thank you so much,
Excellent.
Sarah.
Thank
All
you. It's been really good. Ooh,
right.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right then. All right. See you later.